some of you found some matches, a box of matches. There's some here in the front. I didn't bring enough, I'm sorry. But I wanted to bring you some as souvenirs. That's what we produced, and we invited people. We distributed those in universities, on the street, in theaters. And we were inviting people to come by, light a candle, and then keep going with their lives. But this happened that night when we filed the complaint. We also created a group in Facebook. It's called Colombia Does Not Have a Procurador. We now have more than 3,800 members, and everybody, what's the word? Releases the tension, like all day. What's the word for that? There is a word. Yeah, they vent. This is where they vent, but also where we share information and news, etc. And of course, the media also responded as usual. These are samples of all the different pieces and op-eds that are constantly being published about the Procurador, and everybody knows he is not case. And of course, the cartoonists have also had the time of their lives mocking him. Take a moment to enjoy these. For those that came for the lunch panel, I said that this is a marathon, and because it's a marathon, we have to enjoy the process. So we really have to make fun of this, otherwise we're not going to have enough energy to go through the end. And these are just examples of how groups that are not legal groups, but they just take, again, this excuse to do a protest and mobilization. The second strategy that we did with the Procurador was that in the same way as in the original case, we did not argue for the secular state argument. We didn't use it. This is driving me crazy. We decided that this was a time to bring it up and discuss it. We had the separation of church and state recognized in the Constitution of 1991, but it hasn't been publicly discussed as such until now. So we decided we were going to have a series of panels in different universities inviting public opinion leaders to talk about the issue of the separation between church and state. We had 3 different ones in different universities, and this was also a way to find new allies that maybe wouldn't have not accepted an invitation to talk about abortion, but that they were willing and happy to talk about separation between church and state. And of course, according to the plan, the Procurador was the main example for everybody's intervention. We created a website with the information. We were tweeting the panels as they occurred. We recorded them and some of the presentations and also interviews of the panelists. We posted them on the website. So this really was a low-cost plan. And then because of this, there were people and groups that started filing complaints of their own against the Procurador for having used public money to, for instance, build this little church in the building of the Procuraduría, or publishing those calendars that have biblical quotes and that are part of the Procuraduría. So people started finding specific issues about the violation of the separation between church and state, and they started filing complaints of their own. So it wasn't just Mónica Roa or Women's Link fighting the Procurador, but we had more people joining the legal battle. And then the third one, this is an article about all the tutelas. Tutelas are like amparos for those familiar with those, but they're very expedite challenges where you protect fundamental rights, and the judge has to respond within 10 business days. But fundamental right has to be affected. Otherwise, you cannot use that action. And then the third one, which is the one that we're currently waiting for an answer, we were constantly thinking, okay, this is what was happening. The Procurador kept saying publicly that that abortion was not a right, that emergency contraception was an abortifacient, that public servants did not have the obligation to remove obstacles so women could enjoy these rights, etc. And then giving even scientific information, which I'm sure that you have examples here, like misoprostol was not safe, etc. And because everybody knew his position and his stance on abortion, then public officials were very fearful of complying with the constitutional mandate of granting abortion. So at the beginning, we were trying to think of a case that could prove that because of what the procurador was saying, public officials were being dissuaded, is that a word? Dissuaded from granting women's services. But it was impossible to find a woman who could prove that she was not given a service because of what the procurador was doing. So what we came up with was that we were going to sue him for the right to information. Information is one of our constitutional rights, and the court has jurisprudence saying that one thing are opinions, and you can say whatever you want when you're giving your opinion, and that's under the freedom of speech. But when you're giving information, much more when you're a public servant, the information has to be truthful and reliable. So first thing that we did was documenting for an article that we published all the lies of the procurador. So we documented them, we proved that they were lies, and then we turned that into a tutela claim. And again, so it wouldn't be personal because sometimes it looks as if it was Mónica versus el procurador. And also because we didn't want to prove that we were looking after the right of every Colombian woman of reproductive age. What we did was find 1,200 women that were willing to be plaintiffs. So we worked with our partners in the different regions of Colombia, and we got 1,200 women signing on as plaintiffs. And we gave them, this is, again, the communications component. We picked 5 of them from different regions. We gave them communications training, spokespersons training.